Good morning and welcome into Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust, episode number 124. I woke up this morning and I said, well, I can't wait till it's Friday. It took me a second to realize it is Friday. I've said before, sometimes you get a little bit confused in the baseball world, but today will be day number 15 straight of games. That is not a complaint. 15 straight has never felt easier, considering that we've only been at this for, less than a couple of months. But it's a grind. And so 17 straight will finish on Sunday, and then an off day on Monday. And if you're a sports fan in Kansas City, pretty special last night. Very strange, too, broadcasting road baseball and a near no-hitter from an empty Kauffman Stadium at home while hearing fireworks outside coming from next door with the Chiefs opener and all of that. So I bring all that up, one, because it was a fun experience, and two, I know that my guest is a huge Kansas City fan because he grew up here. And really, I think if it were not for his love of Kansas City sports, I wouldn't have had the chance to get to know him on the road, and then to be able to, he always comes to my office place, and I got a chance to go to his office place. And so I am very excited to bring in my good friend, actor, longtime actor on the show Chicago Fire, Randy Flagler, who is, I believe, probably tucked away somewhere in Kansas right now before all the craziness begins. Is that fair?
That is fair, Joel. I am tucked away in Kansas. Thank you very much for having me.
Is it Winfield? Is that right?
Winfield, Kansas. Beautiful little town.
I honestly don't know anything about Winfield other than every time I hear the name, I'm like, that's where Randy lives.
Yeah, right. It is. I'm trying to think what it's known for. Actually, it got canceled this year, but there's a thing on the third weekend of every September called the Walnut Valley Festival. And it's like the national flat picking contest where musicians and bands come from everywhere. And our town for 1 week turns into a town of 12,000. It turns into a town of 40,000, where all these
that's cool,
like trailers and campers and folks that go to the fairgrounds. And it's really cool. Unfortunately, this was the first year with COVID that it's canceled, because this would have been the 49th year. And even kind of getting ahead of you here a little bit, but one of my producers of Chicago Fire, he actually was at the first one ever. I think it was like 74 or whatever. I can't do the math. But he was like, oh, Winfield. Oh, I've been there. Is that Walnut Valley Festival? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you've been there? Because this guy, he's East Coast guy. So small world.
I was thinking about that a little bit too. I mean, you grew up here, but you ended up settling down in Winfield. I can't remember. Was that because of your wife? Was that her ties there? Or?
Oh yeah.
That's what I thought. But you've made this thing work for so many years, where you sort of have two homes, right? I mean, you're in Chicago for work, and then at any chance you get, you fly home when you guys have those breaks and get back to Winfield. I just wonder, like, how many people are making that trek, in the world of acting, where they're going back not to a bigger city but to the small town. I mean, that's not easy, I know.
Right. You know what? The first person I think of, because he played on our show on NBC Chicago Fire, he played Severide's dad, was Treat Williams. And Treat lives, he's going to kill me if it's Vermont or New Hampshire, but he lives in a small little town, and he always takes on his social media, he had beautiful pictures of like when it's snowing there, or when he goes flying and everything. But he goes to New York and LA all the time, back and forth from his little place. And I'm going to say Vermont. Don't kill me, Treat, if it's the other one. If it's New Hampshire, I don't know. But I think I'm not the only one, especially with the Chicago shows. There's folks that sometimes when they have a break, they can go back to LA, is where they're usually from, or New York. But
the beauty of being in the middle of the country like that too is that you can get to so many places. We know that obviously in Kansas City. Before I move on, the first comment has come in: nothing greater than an SMS Raider. So
nice.
Shawnee Mission South is in the house.
Shawnee Mission South is in the house. Yep.
It's a small world. We got a hey Randy. I suspect that there'll be some voices coming in, but before we talk, I really, look, let's be honest, I haven't had a chance to see you all year, so I was just happy to steal the time. And you and I were talking last week. I was just texting you. You made a nice donation to Big Brothers Big Sisters. I appreciate that, and it gave me a chance. I mean, it's just like, I'm used to seeing you. Usually, I say 3 times a year. That would imply that you are only going to 3 games, 3 trips a year, if not more, if you make it home. But I got to tell everybody, like there are so many nights where on the south side of Chicago, there might not be a big crowd. There would have been more this year because they're good,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and it's like there's one guy just there by himself sometimes. I don't say that in a sad way either. And it's just like straight from work, straight from shooting on the set. Randy comes to watch his team. And I mean, I swear there was one night, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where you're like, oh, we're working late. I'm stuck here. I assume, scene after scene after scene, and what you hoped was going to be 5 or 6 turns into 8. And, if I leave and I think I can still get there by the 8th inning. I don't want to miss it at all. I'm guessing that is like such an amazing escape for you to be able to get a little bit of that peace of home.
Absolutely. Especially Joel, I was in LA for 14 years, so never got to see the Royals there usually. And then in Chicago, yeah, when they're actually playing here, because even being here in Winfield, like we're still 3.5 hours away from the stadium. So it's not like I can just jump in a car 20 minutes later and be at a Royals game. So in Chicago, especially like right when the Royals schedule comes out, I check and see what dates they're here. And then once it gets closer, I check and see what my work schedule is. And so the free days are great. But then the times where I'm working, yeah, even if I literally think I hopped in a van after work and like came and saw maybe an inning and a half. But it's like, yeah, you're right. It's the nostalgia thing. It's being the little kid, back at Royal Stadium. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And going Lone Ranger, I got no problem with that at all. I've always been able to entertain myself quite easily throughout my life.
Yeah, although I also think that it's interesting because you've brought a lot of the guys over with you at times too. As a matter of fact, we saw a brawl, did we not? I mean, we were sitting there like in the front row, and I turned to a couple of your colleagues, a couple of the stars who are not from the United States.
Yes.
So this was not their first baseball game, but you could tell that it was more about being there and hanging out, which is what it should be anyway. And I just turned to them because I'll come down and sit with you guys sometimes through some of the game, and I turned and I said, "Hey, as soon as this next inning starts, you might see a fight." And they're like, "What?" And remember that because it was Brad Keller, Tim Anderson, and I could see it bubbling over, and this was the moment. And sure enough, it happened, and they were riveted.
I remember it well. And if you didn't prop yourself, I was going to, because I was going to say you called it right before it happened. It was brewing. Anderson, obviously good player, scrappy, and then Keller. I can't remember the exact situation. You probably do, but it was almost a thing. I shouldn't say where it might have needed to happen. But you called it within 60 seconds it happened. And we had he plays Chief Bowden on the show, Eamon Walker, who's originally from England. Oh yeah,
that guy.
Yep, Eamon Walker, absolutely.
Like the timing on that?
Was there? Yes, yeah. Boy, you are getting good. He usually it all depends. Our work schedule is kind of so hectic. That's why a lot of times I just show up by myself, because if you're not a Sox fan, you're not a Royals fan, it's like, why do I want to go to baseball? Because not all actors are sports fans, which is crazy, and they're wrong. But
right.
But it allows for me just to jump on the subway or jump in a van or whatever and get to the games. But yeah, that was a heck of a time.
I get it because, right, like for you, you're going to see your team. This is your escape. And for them, for all of you, really, you too, it's a commitment. It's like, you might have just worked 14 hours in a day, or you might, have to, and you got to be back at 5:30 in the morning or whatever it is. And so for you, it's like, hey, Cass Butler put that's commitment. You're going like that's your, but that's your team. Like for Eamon, it's like, we're off today. I guess maybe I could go hang out and have a beer, and right. It's like, it's a commitment to do that. So, but it was, I gotta say, I'll throw up a couple more pictures because, and then I want to talk about this experience. You were saying before we went on, you always take pictures of everybody else, but we've never taken one, but I found one.
Well, you know what? That was on set. That was the day you visited.
Yes.
The set. Yeah.
Is that, I can't even tell which one is sharing right now. So, and then the last one that I would like to show, and I want to talk about this. because you invited me down to set. You seeing the whole group there?
Yep.
Yeah. And so I I wouldn't say that I was surprised by anything. I mean, I know like that you where there's so many similarities to what you do and I do, what all this group does and what I do. There are actually a lot of them, and I can't act. But if anybody wants to throw me in a bit part or a little
Oh,
extra role or
sure.
something like that,
I'll get right on that, Joel.
come
I
on.
just want you to know I'm just an actor. I have zero power on that show.
Yeah, I know. Uh, I'm not holding my breath here. By the way, if you had a lot of power, I wouldn't cast me either. But
I would.
well, thank you. But the similarities, and we were talking about them a lot that day, um, really actually reflect or would apply to business and everything in life. I mean, I just think that first and foremost, the similarity is that not a lot of people will ever have the opportunity to go onto a set. Not a lot of people will have an opportunity to go onto a baseball field or into a locker room. And so I get it. I know that you're asked anytime you meet somebody new, what's it like and all this stuff, and the same thing for me, and really it's work. It's the
Right.
best work, but
Right.
it's not abnormal. It's normal. This is I say to people all the time when they say, do you get nervous? And I say no, but I say, do you get nervous when you go into your office?
Right.
Right. I mean, how often do you get nervous to deliver a line?
I think, well, I think I still do at times, but you're right. There's certain days where it's like, oh, we ready? Okay, and action, let's go,
Let's
type
go.
thing. Yeah, let's go.
They're big moments, but
Sure. But no, but just like you said, it's funny when you were mentioning work, right out of college a while ago. I did work. I did work at Sprint in Kansas City for 5 years. So it's like anytime you say work, like I think that, and then of course when you were talking about you with your job in locker rooms and so on the Major League Baseball, and then my job, I mean, I'm sure you're like me, where I literally still am like grateful each day. Grateful each day I get up and go to a set. All actors know that a day where you wake up and go to a set and they actually know your name, that's a good day. That it's not like a one time or one day where you're there and you say and that's still great. That's a huge success. But the day you can wake up, go to a set, they know your name. It's I'm just incredibly thankful. As I said before, I was in LA for 14 years, kind of just kind of cranking away. And then I got extremely lucky, and this opportunity worked out. And I think you've told me more than once you've lived in Chicago, where wow, what a great city, especially growing up in Kansas City, the Midwest. Is that just it's just a little more my vibe, maybe than L.A. Nothing against L.A. Beautiful place, beautiful, but Chicago's a great town.
Well, you're closer to home, and I don't just mean that geographically in terms of just pace and culture and all that. And LA has its thing, and New York has its thing, and on and on. And Kansas City and Chicago are plenty different enough. But if you're going to compare Kansas City is a lot more like Chicago than it is LA. So, but it's interesting because, and I had a chance to meet everybody, and I've thought about this a lot in terms of camaraderie and teamwork. And I mean, you know everything that I've been doing the last number of years. You and I have really gotten to know each other less. By the way, I go on tangents. I think you know about this, especially without a producer telling me to wrap it up. But I just got a text from my mom who said Randy's the guy who went out of his way to say hi to us. Nicest guy ever.
They were so nice.
So,
I met them there at a Sox game.
Yeah, so that'll make her day to hear that, and
hi, Mom.
They really do that. Yeah, thank
you. Hi, Mom. You're my favorite fan.
Favorite ever. But what I noticed, Randy, was that when you introduced me to everybody, whether it was the superstars of the show, like Taylor and Jesse, and we just showed the picture of Eamon, or whether it was other cast members like yourself that have had regular roles there. But not the superstars of the show. Everybody was amazing, and I generally tend to read people pretty well, although I'm guilty of wanting to like and liking everybody. But I think you're the same way. But like in the middle of a long day of shooting, and it's early in the morning, and there's chaos and this and that. There's not necessarily time to sit there and like put on your best face. You're probably going to show your true colors,
right?
Because it is what I would call in that set organized chaos, and it's fast, as slow paced as it can be. It's very fast paced too, in terms of agenda and hey, we got and all that. But how special is it to have a group that for the most part has been together since 2012?
11, yeah, 12 sounds right. I don't even know, to tell you the truth.
But
11 or 12, yeah.
You shouldn't know, but I mean that's somewhat unheard of in television, in the same way that it would be unheard of in a sports locker room and the pro scene to have the same group together for
Right.
that long. People move on, people do things. So what is it about this group?
We always have to give credit to the initial producers who hired us all, because we did get lucky. And I'm sure, and Joel, I've talked to you before, I've wanted to go to one of your seminars and hear your spiel, but the whole thing, like with team and chemistry and teamwork and so on, like we actually just got lucky that they all hired us. And I don't know, the quality of people that they hired or whatever, it's like we genuinely have grown to care and love each other. Because at first you're trying to put a TV show on its feet, and let's hope for a second season, or number one, let's try to put a good product out there. Something that we'd want to watch, or anyone would want to watch. And then yeah, just the personalities and who they hired. It's like we got lucky because it has grown. And I've told you and I've told other folks, I believe that it shows on camera that genuine love for each other. But yeah, the quality of folks in that cast, and the love we have for each other, it's pretty remarkable. Not, believe me, I've been on a lot of sets and not all casts are like that, and we got lucky. So I'm just trying to equate it to without forcing it to like baseball, like front office, whatever, picking the players, and then the chemistry. Because you and I both know, even how did the Kansas City Royals small market get to the World Series 2 years in a row when other teams have, budgets that are like 3 times as much, and it's just the team chemistry and them getting along. And luckily for me, and again, counting my blessings, or, being grateful, I've stumbled upon into one of those groups too. Actually, there were 2 actors that have been around the business for a long time. One of them being Eamon, who we talked about. And then another one who was on another series that went a while. They both thought I already had my hit. I didn't think this would ever happen again. And they even said that at the premiere of season 1, where we were already genuinely caring about each other, even that halfway into season 1, and they were like, I couldn't believe I hit lightning in a bottle twice, and then here we are, 8, going into our 9th season. I mean, and for me to even have to hesitate to think about that, it just shows you how lucky.
It's great.
How lucky. Yeah.
Well, I sort of understood, like when you hear some of these iconic shows that are finally wrapping up, and the fans always wanted to keep going more, and everybody says, well, this was the time and this just makes sense. And then they talk about all the emotion. And I always kind of got that, but I really understand it more now, having been on the set, just to see the way you got. And it's not like I want to be real about this too. I mean, it was just a normal day at the office for all of you. The cool part was that I got to go and I got to see it. So it was super cool for me. But I recognized the whole time I was there that, yeah, I was just like, what do I do to stay out of the way?
Right.
Right. And you're like, well, whatever, just go hang out there. We're going to go jump down an elevator now, that type of thing. And I'm like trying to wedge in the corner. Like I'm sitting there thinking, and me being, I love putting stuff out on social media. And so I'm wanting to like, what can I do? What can I do? I don't want to break any rules. Oh my God, they finally got this shot right. What if I'm in it by accident? And I'm like, what? Like, then suddenly people are going to be saying, who's this dude that Brandy brought to work?
No,
but
no one said anything after you left. You were great.
Everybody,
you were great.
But it was great. It was just like, in the same way that it's cool for you when you come down to the field for batting practice.
Oh.
It's the same thing. And like, to me, I'm sitting there thinking it's just a normal day. So I understood the normalcy of what you guys were doing, but it wasn't normal to me. And to watch this organized chaos, all I was thinking, and this is sort of the speaker's mind now, all I was thinking was, what a process to get this whole team to function together. Like clockwork. And I'm not talking about the actors either.
Right.
That.
The whole crew.
Same thing with amazing. Me. I find the most interesting pieces of video that I show audiences are inside the truck and the behind the scenes. People don't know that until they see it. But I'm just wondering how much respect or appreciation you have for all of those people behind the scenes that make you look good. Because I'm not sure that you can have a great team without it.
Unfathomable how much respect I have for them, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, you hear at award shows, whatever, but they're always, I think, the cast best crew in the world or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's like those guys, yeah. And you kind of mentioned where not every day's like that, but if we do have a 6 a.m. shoot, and sometimes if it's outside, and the lights, we're not going to have light after 4 p.m. Like we do need to get there early, whatever. Um, but when we show up, it's like our call time, or we might have to go to hair makeup at 6 a.m. Like crew's already been there, before we get there. They're the first to come, last to leave. And those guys, oh my gosh, they you never hear them complain. They just work. And then especially outside in Chicago with that weather and stuff, they have all the gear and everything, but they just do their job. They're the backbone, like they're the heart of the whole show. And again, Chicago, Midwest folks, whatever, they know how to work. It's unbelievable. Yeah, utmost respect. And I wanted to also mention, I was very proud of you the day you were there, because you being used to being on camera, I'm sure your natural tendency would want to jump in front of the camera, but you didn't.
I wanted to.
Yeah, but no, you stayed in the shadows and did such an excellent job. And I do remember it was at the factory.
Yep.
I think it was our season 7 finale. So unfortunately, you probably couldn't have taken too many pictures of this and that. We would have wanted to keep it all secretive.
Yes. You were shooting the season finale, is what you were doing.
Yeah.
There was this scene where everybody was jumping down the elevator shaft.
Yeah, but again, we got lucky where you were there because the Royals were playing the White Sox, and I guess it was a night game, and you must have had a day off. No, it was. I don't know if we worked.
It was a night game
that night. Yeah,
it was.
But you were able to make it, and so that was fun. I'm glad it worked out, and I'm glad it was before COVID, because now there's not going to be any set visitors for a long time.
Well, I want to talk to you about that in a moment, but before I get to that question, I want to ask about those crazy days and the fact that nothing ever goes as it's drawn up, right? I mean, sure. in a business that is completely scripted, and I was stunned that day when you kept saying to everybody, we have to rehearse all these lines, and he doesn't even have a script, and we could never do that. I'm like, yes, you could. I don't know if I could deliver a line, all that type of stuff. It was just interesting to see the differences. But what's that process like of seeking perfection? Because so much of what we do every single day is, hey, it's live with all of its warts and its blemishes, and you learn to sort of accept the failures that come with that, but you don't have a choice.
Well, true. Live is fun, as you know, but it's probably been dulled a little bit to you because you do it so much. But in those moments where, yes, it is scripted, and especially with this show, like, we need to pretty much stay on script. We can't just, improv too much, but whatever, not to get too much in the acting, but it's like, there are those moments where you're looking at your partner and there's things that happen on different takes, and that excitement, which it may be if you're on and you're looking for one more stat to say on your tablet and you guys got to fill another 2 minutes, there is that little adrenaline going, which makes it fun at the same time while trying to be, relaxed and everything, which, like you said, the more you do it, maybe the easier it is. But each day can be different. You might just be off, me more so than you. And, there's things that are happening, and, I could flub up a little bit. But unlike you being live, where we can just do another take, and then the crew, this excellent crew that I talked about, can get pissed and like, oh, come on, Flagler, get it right. Let's go. But they don't do that.
I know they don't, but even sometimes that could just be internal, right? I mean,
please, that's half the battle. Yeah, for sure. And that's I've been lucky. Sorry, I've been lucky or blessed where whatever that is, maybe I need more of it. I don't have much of it, because it's probably it's like, all right, let's do it up. I screwed up. Sorry, let's go. Do it again. Boom. Okay, done. And I know with I guess, obviously my wife, who love and best friend, knows me the best. It's like our youngest daughter's going to Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri. She does musical theater, and we're at a point now where I can kind of share some of the things, but I can see that I don't, and I'm trying to think, with my childhood, maybe my upbringing, if that was something that's just innate in me, or if it's something I learned. But it's like, I've always, one of my strengths, if I can say, is just doing it and then instantly forgetting about it. Of course, some things you'll think about on the drive home, that you could have done differently, but I've been fortunate enough. And like I said, I wish it was a teachable moment if it was something I learned, but I don't know if it was. But it's just like just being able to, all right, I did my best, forget it. I can't do anything about it now. And you move on.
I will tell you that is one of the hardest things to do. And it took me a long time. Look, the really bad flubs, those will eat at you when you go to bed. And generally, if they're still there in the morning, they're going to take a little bit.
Right.
But I just learned over the years, and I think it came with repetition, when you have it, I think it's the same for you too, that when you know that you have that everyday job, there are no guarantees. But when you feel like you're not chasing a job every single day, you could stop putting so much pressure on yourself.
Well, that's a good point. Which again brings me back to the grateful feeling.
Oh, I mean,
I know, right?
Okay, I was stalling before I asked you about the pandemic and all that, because I found a few more pictures just to
nice.
apply to what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, there's the warehouse. That was the set for the day.
So
and
it felt legit too. I mean, I'm walking in there and there's smoke all over the place, and it was like, it felt like we were on the scene.
Yeah, obviously back to crew, our special effects and stunt guys. But yeah, there's literally fire going. They're usually from gas pipes with holes punched in them. So it's like when you say "and action," then the fire goes up, and then end cut, and the gas goes down or whatever. But it's like, yeah, we're working with fire, and there's real Chicago Fire Department folks there in case something goes crazy. But again, the whole group working together to make that happen. But I'm glad you got a good day, because sometimes it could have been a little more like not as action packed or whatever. And a lot of the crew was there, and a lot of the actors were that you were able to meet. But it was fun. Oh yeah.
See, is that you? I can't tell if that's you or not.
I have no idea. Let me put my old man glasses on. I can't. It's the back of somebody.
It's the back of somebody.
I would think
were jumping in an elevator shaft.
Yeah, I don't know if it says Capp there or not. I would think if you took, unless you were getting a environment picture, if you just took the back of someone, that might have been me.
That was me wedged into a corner, is what that was. Just like seriously, like I swear I was more stressed on that set than I would be at work, because I was just like, I don't want to screw this up. I don't want to be in the way. And nobody seemed to give a crap of me, by the way.
You were good. It was similar though, and not to take your train of thought. It was similar, like you said, when I've been fortunate enough to go down like for batting practice, or one time even I was up on your little platform, your little work area. But I was up there when you're working, and I was the same way. I was like, oh, dude, okay, I don't want to, don't want to be in the way. I don't want to make eye contact with Joel, because I'll totally make you laugh. I'll screw you up,
which would be awesome.
But I felt the same way. I was almost nervous, like wanted to, let me get out of your way. I'm in your workspace. Let me, but I'm the same way when I'm there. Had the same feeling when you were at my place.
Yeah, no, I never thought about it like that, but it totally makes sense now. That would be just, you're a little bit out of your comfort zone, and you're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
The last one on the show, because I was talking about crew, is this, and there was just a point where you said to me, hey, I got to go shoot this scene. Just go hang out over there. And I'm like, well, like where? They're busy doing, and there's like 7 people hovered. Or I remember saying to you, and that like, what are they? They're all just like staring at this monitor as the scene's being shot. Why are there so many eyes on this thing? And you had a really good answer to me. I want you to share that, because it'll give people yet again a feel of why there are so many people to make this work. They're not just, other than me, they weren't just hanging out. Right.
Well, I don't remember this awesome wisdom I bestowed upon you that day, but I know that looking at wait, I was going to say that's Video Village. That's where the director is, and that's where the script supervisor is. But what was this wise information I gave you?
Well, as someone that oftentimes will make fun of the amount of hair on the top of your head, I believe the comment had something to do with the fact that someone needs to be looking to make sure there's no glare off of my head or whatever. Otherwise, we got to shoot the whole damn thing all over again.
Right. Yeah. No, that's it. Was I thought it'd be a good, because then you could see the 2 cameras that were being used at the time. You could see like it was probably a close up on either Severide or Casey or one of those characters, and then the wide shot or whatever. But it's you can see kind of what's going on, because you can see it right in front of you, and then you can see it right there, just like in the trucks. Speaking of which, I would have loved to have been in the truck, not of your crew, but of the national crew, game 1 of the World Series when it went black. I would have loved to have been in that truck.
Hey, have you ever been on on set when the shit just completely hits the fan?
Yeah, yeah, that was that day.
I'm assuming so. Like I wouldn't want to be near that truck at that point
No.
because you know how many phone calls they're getting and how many people are completely freaking out. But for
Yep.
the most part, all those folks, they don't freak out. I mean, you get everybody that's wired different ways, but it's process, it's work. So
Real quick, Joel, sorry, don't
yeah,
forget your train of thought, only because you're talking about this. There was that technical difficulties for game one of the World Series. Then there was when we were in Omaha, we had a
oh my
technical
gosh.
difficulty with ESPN, and I think we missed Nicky Lopez's first home run. I think.
Not think. Well, yes, you think you're right
All right. But it was
because
like, I started wondering, is it the small market Kansas City thing again? It's like the Kansas City kid with a chip on his shoulder. It's like, why is it always us? Like,
right.
what's going on here? And actually, soon there was like a first game Chiefs at Jacksonville, and there was some technical difficulties. Or they switched over to the game when they shouldn't have, then they switched back. But it was like, what in the world's going on? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, we were actually up in Minneapolis. That was the only game we didn't do last year.
Oh,
so we did 161, and so we're at our favorite steakhouse. Sitting in the bar area, trying to watch the game and enjoy a night off. And we didn't go to Omaha, so we got the rest of the day home, and then we flew up, and a bunch of us went out to dinner, which we don't actually get to do very much on the road. By the way, everybody always asks, "What's your favorite place to eat dinner on the road?" I'm like, I mean, like, which press box are you talking about? Right. I mean, we get to work around 3:30 or so, and we're done around 11. So every now and then you get a chance to go out for a meal. And so we were like, hey, can you put the game on ESPN? Like, yeah, it's not there. Like, what? And then so you're seeing it on the phone. Oh my gosh, kid hits his first big league home run. Did anyone even see it? Did it really happen?
Right.
So anyway, all right, sidetrack there. But
yes,
one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, along with just the fact that you and I could just do this, and pardon me for all of the delving into the pictures and all of that, but I think it's interesting for people just to see the way the process works. Sure. and what you guys have, which is so special. But now you go back to work, or you go back to work next month, and I think that in my mind, especially with the amount of television and movies that are out there right now, in some ways it's overwhelming, right? I mean, you have all the streaming services, and every day there's a new streaming service. So it's like the other night I got on Apple TV because I got a new computer, so you got a free subscription of that, and it's taking me to all these places. Oh yeah, I'll watch this, and it just took me back to Hulu, which I already had. Like right. It's all over the place. And so I think a lot of consumers have wondered, is this going to dry up? How do they go back to work? You can't have a whole set of people suddenly getting sick in a crowded space like that. And again, if people see their favorite, 15 actors or whatever, 20 actors on Chicago Fire, you're not seeing the 200 people behind the scenes that hopefully you saw a little bit in those pictures there. So how is this going to work when you go back to work later this month?
I'll speak on what I know, because I'll have more of these answers like a month or two from now. But I do know, well, usually we go back mid-July. And obviously here we are in almost mid-September, so we're not back yet. I'm not back in Chicago. Now, as I mentioned to you, I do leave in a week. So just even the beginning process, I need to be there for a 14-day quarantine in Chicago, which makes sense for the folks that haven't been living there the whole time. And then we will start production on October 6th. And I'll go ahead and make the quick plug that the first episode of this year is going to be on November 11th. So 11/11 will be the first episode. But I do know for scheduling, I want to say usually an episode takes like 6-7 days to shoot. Well, there's going to be an extra day in there just because of all the time, even like cleaning the props and stuff between each take and this and that. And the actors and those that work closely with actors, I know we're going to be tested 5 times a week. And so it's probably similar to kind of what Major League Baseball, NFL, what they're doing. And that was the delay of us getting back, was the response of the tests, or getting the COVID tests back quick enough. Because, if someone, even if one of the crew members or one of the actors, if we get it, it's like, we got it. Hopefully we know within 24 hours. And it's like, okay, that person gets out, and, we got to be careful and this and that. But I know like 3 of them will be the rapid test, which I think you can get a response back in 50 minutes. 2 of them will be don't know if it's a 24-hour test. Maybe it's something even better now. Maybe it's already gotten better. But I do think, not to reveal any secrets, but I think like NBC Universal, I believe they like bought either a testing company or a part of one just so they could get that done, because that's what was holding everything back. But it will be a lot slower. There will be more of kind of a skeleton crew. Yeah, and actually, I believe that the firehouse we go to film the exterior shots, if we're out on the driveway, I don't think, and this makes sense, I don't think we're going to be in the beginning using the station that we use, where there's actually working fire department, Chicago Fire Department firefighters there, because it's like, what if we had COVID and then we spread to them, and they're the ones actually out there saving lives. So there'll be a lot more kind of the fake exterior in the stages and stuff, but knowing our crew, again, it probably won't be too noticeable. So
what I'm hearing very much to me reflects what we've seen in baseball, and some of the protocols and practices will be different. And look, the NFL might be different than baseball because they were watching baseball. They're learning from it. The NHL and the NBA had their own bubble. And so they, and soccer, they were able to do things a little bit differently with the ability to do that bubble. We will see a bubble, by the way, I think in the playoffs, where you don't have to worry about 30. Putting 30 in one place or two places was going to be impossible. But it's been interesting to watch in baseball, because what's happened, and this, I would include this to television, is everything sort of falls under what's essential to get it done, and what can you do differently. So would it be easier if I was on the road? Absolutely. I mean, it's been really hard in my role as a reporter to sit there, like even today, and say, okay, what can I bring to the broadcast that's different than what everybody saw on a Zoom call? Yeah, well,
what an excellent question. What an excellent question. Go ahead.
It's hard. I mean, but as I always say, the show must go on. And so when we get the compliment of, hey, we can't even tell that you're not there, or even though there are no fans, it's still really good. And it's like, boy, it doesn't totally feel right at all.
Right.
However, the ultimate goal is to bring that product to the fans. And it sounds to me like that'll be very similar for you guys, that not everything will be exactly the same. But then my fear is that afterwards, when all this mess is done, they say, you know what, that worked out okay. We can do it that way. And
exactly. No, that's our selfish, same way. But similar with baseball. And of course, what a great job too. Just kids having fun, getting paid for it. But similarly, and myself, most actors, we just want to tell a good story, man.
Yeah.
We just want folks to be, moved or can relate to it, or just give them an hour escape from there. I mean, we're getting into a part of like why I became an actor. It's like, I just want to help tell a story. It's like ever since we were little kids, you get a bedtime story, and you're just curious, like what's going to happen next? What's happening next? It kind of takes you out of your day and what went on. But yeah, we just want to put a good product on the screen. And whether reading some of the scripts or watching the show, like I'm just like, I'm proud that because I don't get to see, I'm not there to film all scenes, and I don't see the monitor all the time. And then like so sometimes, even though I was there on the scene, whether it's an outside scene or a rescue or something, or in actually seeing the final product on TV, it's almost kind of new. I mean, sure, I remember being there working on it for 5 hours for that scene, but like when you see it, it's like I too get sucked in as an audience member, to the characters and their feelings and what's going on. And that's all we want to do. It's, we love watching movies, love watching television shows, and we just want to put a good product up there. So yeah, and we'll do our best for that too.
Well, you touched on something too. Like I talk a lot about how, for me, and maybe this is true for you, there's a long stretch where you say, hey, good day, bad day, whatever it is, I'm just like, this is what I dreamed of doing. I'm happy. Right. And then you start to, over time, understand the effect that what you're doing has on people. So it wasn't really meant to be a selfish intent, but it was enough to satisfy yourself, at least for me, of saying, like the story I tell is a guy stopping me in the airport my first year, and he recognized me at the end of 2008. And he said, "Hey, you do a great job." And he didn't know my name, and I
Sure.
was just excited that somebody recognized me.
Right.
And and he said, "But I got to tell you something. I feel sorry for you." And what do you mean you feel sorry for me? He goes, "Well, you got to talk about all those losses every single night. The team wasn't good then."
This was
And
not
I
a Kansas City Royals fan, right?
no, it was, but
Oh,
like
it was. Okay.
he just was like, "Man, it's got to be tough going to work every day and talking about those losses." And I was like, "Man, I'm living my dream. Like they pay me to talk about baseball every day. I don't know
Right.
what you do,
Right.
but I'm good."
Right.
And that was enough for me at that point. But then over the years, you just start to hear, and I'm guessing this is the same. You start to hear from people in hospital beds or people stationed overseas that just need that escape, and you suddenly realize that you can make people's lives better. And so on the worst of days, that's what I think about.
Right.
And it's I think it adds the purpose into it, beyond just your own enjoyment. And I'm wondering if that's evolved for you over the years.
Absolutely. I mean, uh, I'm trying to think if this is different from what you do, but yes, I've seen that evolve because even sometimes in the earlier seasons, like fans would kind of come to the set or just kind of show up, especially if we were outside. And then if there was a moment, again, great group of actors, they'd be like, "Oh, can we get a picture? Get a picture." And so we do the picture thing. And I think when I first realized this, which as an actor, that what I was saying, like different from you, was this is all an illusion for me because it's like once you're off the show, like they're gonna forget about you. But they'll still be, years later, be like, "Hey, you were great as Capp on Chicago Fire, whatever." But when we take pictures, sometimes they were so excited, like you can feel someone like kind of shaking next to you when you're taking a picture. You're like, I didn't say nothing, but it's like, oh my God, relax. Like I'm just,
I'm just a dude.
I'm just like you, just like you. But it has been fascinating where I'll always ask them, "Hey, I'm Randy. What's your name?" And where'd you come from? And it's like, we came from Germany. I was like, "Did you come from Germany specifically to come here to see Chicago Fire?" They're like, "Yes." And I mean, it's like, oh my God, like what's going on here? But yeah, us, well, me being Midwest, I can't remember if you were born
I
where
was
you were
born out
born.
east, but
That's what I thought,
we
New
moved.
Jersey.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah, you
moved.
grew up
Yep,
here.
yep, yep.
But it's like being Midwest kid. It's like I'm never gonna let my head get that big. Like, it's a little bit of an illusion. But like you said, the importance or what it means to others. It's flattering, and I'll be there. I'll be there for them. Just say like, "Hey,
Yeah.
nice to meet you. What's your name?" But yeah, that's another thing. I try not to get too hooked up on that because we're just normal. We're like
Right.
everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, I say that a baseball clubhouse and probably a set too is like any other office.
Really
I
is.
mean, if you really have the perfect team, you don't have any of those, bad people.
Yeah.
But you're going to have, regardless of character, you're going to have, I mean, on screen character, but you're going to have introverts, extroverts,
Sure.
right? Even an actor could be introverted, but you're going to have
Absolutely.
introverts, extroverts. You're going to have people that are, quiet, that are loud. By the way, some of the quiet people can be extroverts, and some of the loud people can be introverts. I mean,
That is so
but you're
true.
gonna have all types. You're gonna have jokers. You're gonna have people that are serious, and so that's right. I mean, and I saw some
Yeah.
of the. There weren't a whole lot of shenanigans when I was there, but I could just see like once everybody got away from their seat and just
Yeah.
hanging out,
Yeah.
you got someone that wants to close their eyes and take a nap for 20 minutes. You got somebody that wants to read, on and on. It's really no different than everyday life. But I think that for me, I remember early on in my career, you'd have somebody come up and ask for an autograph, and my line was always, "Well, I don't want to." I don't want to ruin the value of the baseball or the whatever it is. Like you don't want me. And the look, in a kid's face was like,
Right.
wait, you're turning me down. And so there almost had to be like, look, my family will remind me that I'm not a big deal all the time, and my
Oh,
friends,
sure.
which is great. Like you want
It
that,
is.
right?
Yeah.
That
Sure.
there's that's a very comfortable space to live in. When when someone says to me, "Oh, you do what? Oh, I'm so, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know." And I'm like, "Great. Like
Yeah.
I'm
No big
totally
deal.
good with that. If you want to start watching, even better, but I'm totally comfortable in that spot." you know, and so, but I also think that I've become comfortable with understanding that ask, can you take a picture? Can you sign an autograph? Is is a chance to put a smile on someone's face. And
Absolutely.
so instead of sort of that, insecurity or self-deprecation, that's not what they want.
Right. Right. You're
So
right. Easy way to put a smile on face. And what a better little goal each day to have. You can put a smile on one person's face each day. It's like, I'll take that.
yeah,
I'll take
for
it all the
sure.
time. You mentioned something with family and friends always being able to keep you humble. I think even on social media, the little post of you and I, hey, we're doing this today type thing. I think it was on Facebook. One of my friends, it was an old headshot of mine. It's just a go-to one I always do, and it's one where I'm not smiling, which usually most people that know me, I'm smiling
Yeah.
quite a bit of the time. But he just, just an old friend from high school had put Rico Suave, and that's all he typed. And I knew he was talking about my headshot because it was my serious shot. And it's like, I just laugh. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but they keep you grounded for sure. As
Um,
as they should, as they
as
should.
they should. A couple of posts coming in. My friend Kiana says happy Friday. Rhonda, hello, Randy. Um, Jeannie Phillips, Chicago Fire, and then I actually love this one too, it's dead on. To you, it's just an autograph. To a fan, it's framed on the wall. But that's a phenomenal perspective. Like, just to remember that this might be that one chance to meet. Like for us, this is just everyday life,
Sure.
and I'm slightly uncomfortable comparing what I do to what you do. But as I said before, there's so many similarities to just being in this unique world that most people will never get a chance to. I think about it all the time, Randy.
Yeah.
In normal times, when I'm down in the field, we're not allowed on the field this year, and I finish up an interview, at the stadium, and then I have to walk out to left field to the set. I actually, it's one. I'm not a cheesy guy, but it's one of the cheesiest, kind of hokiest things I do. Is I really try to feel my feet in that grass.
Yep.
Because I think back to the kid that, well, I'm going to get to walk on the field.
Yeah,
I'm going to get to
exactly.
be in the locker room and interview. And it's very easy for that. Like when you look, you're not sitting there every day you go on the set pinching yourself and thanking because you're too wrapped up in what's going on.
Right.
But when you have that moment where you can say, you know what,
Right.
this is pretty good. I think it just grounds you.
Yep. I figured you were going to say something like that because I can totally see where, you do your pregame on the field and then that nice stroll back to your little platform, back there.
Yeah. My
But
little
it's like
platform.
that's the time to just take it in, like, because you'll remember, I think you said you started in '08, like kind of what you had to do, the grind to get to where you were now. And now you can just stroll in a Major League Baseball stadium,
Right.
and just stroll to your they're not escorting you out of the stadium. Thank you very much for doing that. Okay, bye. You're actually,
Yeah.
you get to stay, you get to wander. Same feeling where, yes, you're right. There's things that got to be done. There's scenes that got to be, make sure you know your lines and stuff, all that stuff. But there are moments, especially on location, where you do have that moment, whether if it's a sunset coming up or you're just looking around at everyone,
Yes.
just being nice to each other, just working, just getting this thing done where there's 100 wrecked cars in the middle of downtown, and they're placing things and touching up makeup on people and blood and whatever, all this stuff. That there's many times probably similar to that walk back to your little studio there that I do take it in because there's going to be years from now we'll think back and like, wow, what a great opportunity. And I don't know if I do it daily or like anyone else as much as I
No, I don't do it
should,
daily, but
but it is, yeah, very fortunate. And hopefully that adds to, I don't know, maybe our successes or whatever, that it's still something we can be grateful for each day. Hopefully that maybe contributes a little bit to what we can offer.
Would you call it again? My little not
I don't know, your little platform there, your little
with the hands,
workspace,
your little
Joel's little
platform.
workspace. Oh, don't touch Joel's little workspace. Get away. He's recording.
There's a riser and a set out in the left field, and there's a security guy that stands at the stairs. It just dawned on me, like I'm always happy. First off, I'm happy for anybody that know to come up there. I think probably Fox would like that traffic to be limited,
Right.
but like for me, there's more downtime than and so if I see a friend, I'm like, but it just dawned on me, like as you're saying, your little space that
Right.
that someone will come. Usually I'll get a text from someone like Randy, hey, I'm here. I'll come out and visit me. And then he'll be talking to the security guard and I'll do something like this. Security guard will look at me. I'll be like,
Right.
Like,
Oh,
whoa, how does that look like?
it's good to be the king. It's good to
Oh,
be the king.
sure. And while you're at it, bring me
You
some
know what?
M&Ms and take the red ones out.
He may enter my little space. He may enter.
Oh,
But I felt so privileged too. And then
oh,
did my
stop it.
crouching tiger, hidden dragon hiding behind, so I wouldn't be in your eye line.
Oh
Is
gosh.
there enough overhang where if there's wind and rain, do you ever get wet sitting up there? That's funny.
Or
That's
there's
funny.
or for 7 o'clock game, there's the sun coming from the west, which
Yeah.
is right above the Hall of Fame building. And so like I'm pretty sure throughout the course of the year that this side is
Nice.
more tan than that side.
I'll say it for
And
you. I'll say it for you. Step up, Fox. Give him some flaps. Step up, Fox.
it's all good. You know what? We've done so much work inside this year because when the team's gone, at first they had me out on the set and it's pitch black other than the studio lights, and there's nothing behind me. There's no one in the stadium. Like
Right.
you're hearing like wild animals and stuff like that.
Right.
I saw a raccoon crawling around the Diamond Club one day. I sent the picture to Mike Swanson, who you know very well, the vice president of media relations. He was on the road, and I said, "Look at this raccoon." And the press passes this year: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So the players, and the coaches are tier 1. He would be a tier 2. I'm a tier 3. He goes, that raccoon is not credentialed for even tier 3. Come on. So
Yeah.
it's strange times. The last question I have for you, I got a couple more that I want to post here. By the way, Jennifer, who had asked about Johnny Mission South before, did you just drink water from a pickle jar? Is what she wants to know.
I'm so glad because I was about to bring it up because I know my wife will be so proud of me. Come on, man. Okra jars are the best. They're the best cups. Good, big, large mouth,
And
like the large mouth Gatorades. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Okra jars. My
Okay,
wife is
so
very proud right now. Yes. I love them. I'm like, no, don't throw that away. I love
that
them.
was a great snag, but everyone at home or wherever they're at sees a bigger picture than you and I are seeing on our screen. So that's why I had to blow that up there to see
Oh,
your
thanks
okra
a
jar.
lot. Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Okra jar, baby.
and then the last comment I want to throw out before my last question, Tracy, can't wait for 11/11/2020. Be safe and enjoy being back to work. And so that was my last question. It is going to feel different when you guys get back there. It will be different. There's a lot going on in the world. We haven't even talked about the racial injustice going on. Chicago certainly is a spot that has had a lot of attention, and you don't know where things will be when you go back to work. But I mean, what's your thought as you go back into such I would think a safe setting in terms of these are your people, right?
Right.
This is your crew, this is your life, but at a time that is so unsafe and so unsure.
Yeah, I'm trying not to candy coat this. But like I haven't thought of it being unsafe because it's such an important time right now. I'm so glad. I mean, I can only imagine the frustration and how I'd feel if I'd lived my whole life with black skin. I mean, the whole Black Lives Matter movement, and I'm so proud of the NBA. I mean, I've posted some things, whatever, on social media, but the NBA stepping up, NFL, Major League Baseball. It's like I'm glad that the exposure is being brought to the level it's being brought to because it's like so far overdue. I can't even. I don't even think I have the justification to speak on it, but it's such an important movement, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Where it's like we just come on, man, let's end this. I talked to a friend. It goes back to the one golden rule: just love one another. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, you know. So trying to answer your question, there might be, but I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But feeling unsafe, I don't. I know I live when I'm in Chicago. I am downtown, and I think my front door. I think there's currently boards instead of glass, on the front doors. But again, I get it, and I'm not worried about it. Because it's all for. It's all the movement. I'm just so glad what's going on, but more needs to be done. More needs to be done. So it's just the beginning. So
the beginning. There's a lot of disheartening developments out there, I guess I would call it. But I also think that there's so much positive movement forward, and we need to keep having those discussions. And so,
Agree. And doing something about it. Agree.
and doing something about it. And you and I didn't even get to discuss much of it. We were off on other stuff, but those discussions are happening on a regular basis on the show, and so I'll continue to do that. But I'm glad that we got to this. Went extremely long. I'm not surprised by that at all, because as I tell to some of my favorite people, we could go hours and hours and keep on going and going. So we'll do it again at some point. But
sounds good. And then I might have answers for how different it is with COVID.
Well, no, we should follow back up on that. I know I won't, a guy like me and anyone for that matter won't be visiting sets like that for a while, in the same way that I can't bring anybody to the stadium right now. You couldn't get into the stadium right now. Nope. It's the way it is. We'll get through it, and we'll get back to a different normal, I think, when all is said and done. But I do know that people want to watch these baseball games. People want to watch their favorite shows. And so November 11th, we're not that far away. 2 months from today.
Wow, that's true.
Right. And it's September 11th too, and I didn't mention that.
I was going to say, never forget. Yeah,
and that was actually one of my first thoughts when I woke up this morning. And so I think there's another topic. We all remember where we were that day, if we're old enough.
Absolutely,
certainly I do, and I'm sure you do. But hey, I appreciate all of this. I love every opportunity that I get to catch up, and excited for the new season coming out, and to see. I know that at home, it'll just feel like normal for all of us to watch it. So, Randy, I love the friendship. I love every chance I get, and keep staying safe. Best to you and the family and everybody else in the Winfield, and make sure that I would start distributing those Randy Flagler Okra Jars.
Okay, I'll have to check with the company first. But no, hey, thank you so much. Feelings mutual. Honored to be on Rounding the Bases with Joel Goldberg. Are you kidding me? So thank you very much, and best to your family also. I'm so glad Mom gave a shout out. It was a pleasure meeting them.
It's important. Couple final. I'd like to get all the people in there, but there's a nice one. Enjoying the podcast. Great to see our talented and dear friend and neighbor Randy Flagler on your program today. Everyone be safe and happy. Can't wait for Chicago Fire's new episode, November 11th. Great birthday present. Love you, Randy. So Rhonda, thanks for jumping in.
Thanks, Rhonda.
And Randy, thanks again. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Joe. All right, buddy. See you.
All right. Randy Flagler, one of my favorite people. Can you see why? Energy, amazing person. That's going to do it for another episode of Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. I forgot to mention at the top too, KCAV, Kansas City Audio Visual, helped me build the studio here. If you've got audio visual needs, check them out. And to Enterprise Bank and Trust, #no stopping you for their partnership. Have a great weekend, everybody, and see you back here on Monday.